if you do this on a regular basis, this should help increase or improve self-confidence, right? But this is what I would say about that. You know, even with the class that we did, the self-acceptance, there's nuances to it, you know, and we tried to cover that in some of the things we did over the weekend. But the thing that I would say about self-confidence is in a way, um, self-confidence, you know, we look at it from a psychological point of view, you know, Jungian psychology, whatever form of psychology, we have a certain sort of understanding. But if we look at it from a point of view of esoteric principles, it's a lack of light, but it's not a lack of divine light. It's a lack of earth light, if that makes sense. Like when you are bringing in divine light, first, your ability to bring in light actually depends on how much light you can draw in from the earth. And a lot of things that we do to draw in the light from the earth is focused more on the basic chakra, or things that are even of like can tap into something of a lower vibration and like kind of bring it in, and then we move it up through our energy our energy system, our energy processes. And a lot of the light that we bring in is from the mineral kingdom and from the from metals in the earth. And so that's why crystal healing, people don't necessarily put two and two together like that when it comes to crystal healing. But if somebody really knew what they were doing with crystal healing, it's drawing in one kind of light to bring in another kind of light, you could say. And with self-confidence, if you want to tap into that, you don't have to worry about working with crystals or anything like that. But I'll run you through an experiment. Okay, I don't know that I've ever taught this before, by the way, but we've done pieces of it, but it's about like kind of putting these things together. And so first off, we have the transmutation process that is the low back, which is the Mingmen, opposite your navel, then the back heart and the crown. So you're setting a pattern within the body with this particular pattern. But at first you're transmuting things in your physiology, but eventually you're kind of utilizing and harnessing earth prana, or light that comes from the earth. And if you really want to accelerate this aspect of healing issues that have to do with self-confidence and self-doubt and things like this is how you'll do it. Like, so at first, you're putting your awareness on the Mingmen. Right? You're taking long, slow, deep breaths. So I would still use whatever oil you're using, but your awareness is just on the Mingmen. Now, here's the interesting thing with the Mingmen. It transmutes lower, grosser energies. It moves energy up from the Mingmen to the back heart to the crown. It moves things up. It basically it increases or elevates the vibration of the body and moves the energy upwards, right? So like when we're trying to physically heal a condition, part of how you do that is by raising the vibration of the body. Your Mingmen is associated with that, right? Now, the Mingmen is also associated with the law of cycles and with change. So a lot of times when we have difficulty healing, part of the issue is the body is having a hard time changing, right? Is having a hard time to change into this newer form that is going to be healed of a particular condition, you could say. So a lot of times, almost everybody has an issue with the Mingmen because we have issues with change, we have issues with cycles, we have issues with raising the vibration of the body. But on an even deeper level, we have issues with transmuting the energy of the earth into like a divine light of sorts. And so really what you're wanting to do is draw some energy up and then move it up to a higher degree. So you're drawing it up from the earth. So I'm just going to run you through like this little process, and well, let's see how this goes, right? It's kind of nice to explore this, not necessarily in a class, but just like in a study group like this, because we can go into the little nuances and anyway. Okay, so your awareness is on your low back area, your Mingmen. You're starting to take long, slow, deep breaths with your awareness on the Mingmen, right? Your awareness is on the Mingmen. Okay, let that go. So we're going to do something and we're going to practice, right? We're just going to practice it and then we'll keep refining it. We'll see how this goes. Okay. Okay. So your awareness is on your Mingmen, but at the same time, let's just start at your awareness is a foot below your bottoms of your feet. So it's on the Mingmen and about 12 inches below your feet. Okay, they're on the two spots at the same time. Okay, keep inhaling. Your awareness is on the Mingmen and a foot below your feet, right? Now, if you were to say between the Mingmen and your feet, okay, let's stop for inhaling for just a second. When you're looking at, okay, the center opposite your navel, the low back area, and then below your feet, your awareness is on both, but you could say the Mingmen, the low back area, is a little bit more dominant, right? So if you can keep like maybe 2/3 of your attention on the Mingmen and then 1/3 below your feet, that's ideal, right? But somehow just make the Mingmen, the low back area, a little bit more dominant. Like it has a little bit more of your attention is the best way to say it. Like if I'm looking at my two fists, I'm looking at them both, but I'm looking a little bit more at this one than this one. I can still see this one, but my eyes are a little bit more on this one, if that makes sense. You're doing the same thing. Okay, so your awareness is on the Mingmen, which is your low back, and about a foot below your feet. Okay, you're taking long, slow, deep breaths. Now, your awareness on the Mingmen is staying fixed there, but now the area below your feet, start moving it slowly upwards. Move it up about 4 to 6 inches, still below your feet, but now you're only about 6 inches below your feet. Keep inhaling. Now bring your awareness up to the bottom of your feet. And the focus is not the feet themselves. You're just moving your awareness kind of up and using that as like a guideline, right? It's coming up, it's moving up past the ankles. It's slowly moving up, moving up. It's about midway up that lower leg. Still moving up, still moving up. It's getting up to around the knees. It's going up into the thigh. It's about mid-thigh. It's getting up towards the hips, towards the pelvis. It's starting to hit that low back area. And now everything's merging into where the Ming Men's at. Everything's merging into where the low back is opposite the navel. And then just be still for a moment. Let go of the inhalation. Just be still. Okay. Now, your awareness is on your low back, the Ming Men, and now your back heart. So the Ming Men and the back heart, you're inhaling with your awareness on both spots. Now, a little bit more dominant is the area between your shoulder blades, which is the back heart. And the Ming Men has become a little bit more passive. So 2/3 of your awareness is on the back heart, 1/3 is on the Ming Men. Now, you have your awareness on the back heart, you have your awareness on the Ming Men. Start moving your awareness from the Ming Men, raise it up about 3 or 4 inches above your low back. Just start moving your attention upward. Just slowly, slowly moving it upward. It's now hitting your mid-back area. Just below your shoulder blades. Everything's merging into that area between the shoulder blades, your back heart. Hold your awareness on the back heart and take nice, long, slow, deep breaths. And then just pause and let go. Okay, so now your awareness is going to be on the back heart. Your awareness is going to be on the base of your skull, like that little indentation at the base of your skull, like where the skull meets kind of the beginning of the spine, like that little area in the back. That area in the back at the base of your skull is the primary. So 2/3 of your attention's there. 1/3 of your attention is on the back heart. Start taking long, slow, deep breaths. You're moving your awareness up from the back heart. It's moving up, up, up to the tops of your shoulders. It's slowly moving up on your neck. It's halfway up your neck. It's getting more towards the top. Now have it merge into that area at the base of your skull. And then just let go of the inhalation for a moment. Okay, your awareness is at the base of your skull and the top of your head. Still, the primary is the base of your skull. You're inhaling with your awareness on the base of your skull and the top of your head, the crown. Keep inhaling. You're still taking nice, long, slow, deep breaths. Your awareness is still on the base of the skull on the top of your head, but now start moving the energy down from the top of your head down into the brain. You're going deeper and deeper down into the brain. To the bottom of the brain and begin to merge it at the base of the skull. Your awareness is at the base of your skull. And then just pause, be still, and let go. Just let go of everything. Be still. Just be still for a moment. Okay, so now your awareness is on the top of your head, it's on your back heart, and the base of your skull all at the same time. All three spots: crown, back heart, base of the skull. You're taking long, slow, deep breaths with the oils. Oh, attention is still most on the base of the skull. Yeah, sorry. You're inhaling on all three. Let the back heart go, let the crown go. Keep your awareness on the base of your skull. And then just pause and let go. Just notice how you feel. Notice your body, your emotions, your mind. Now, let's just talk about it for a minute. This is pretty abstract, what I just ran you through. Like, I had no intention of teaching this tonight, but Robert brings it out of me. um, there's different kinds of light, like I was saying. You have your inner light, you have the light of the mind. There's even a kind of light that goes along with the emotions, different aspects of the soul, be it the incarnated soul, the higher soul. You all have a kind of light. And then there's a more divine light, mm, like an ocean of light that we all kind of swim in. That's a divine light. There's also a light that, like I said, comes from the earth. And there's a kind of light that you could associate with like Mother Nature, you could say, like how nature interacts with itself. How the plants interact with other plants and how they interact with animals, and how humans interact with the earth or with animals, just whatever it is. There's just all these like little mechanisms that are fueled by this kind of light. You could say your self-confidence on a very deep level is a direct reflection of your ability to tap into this light of the earth. You know, when you're not able to deal with it, you could say in a way you have a hard time dealing with conflict, you have a hard time overcoming obstacles, you have a hard time, bottom line. And when you see somebody who just kind of like flows with things and seems like they handle conflict well, and doesn't mean things don't happen, doesn't mean things don't get triggered, doesn't mean they don't have their little difficulties, but they're a little bit more dynamic in their activity. They're a little bit more fluid in the way that they handle things. They have the ability to tap into this flow of energy, and you could say they kind of get it a little bit. Like they have an understanding, because this is the thing when we're dealing with bringing in divine light or the light of the soul, or tapping into this kind of light with the earth. In the light, it's energy with consciousness. It has information, it has guidance, it has a thing that helps you go in particular directions where your mind is not able to comprehend it. You have this kind of like guidance that's coming. And this is really one of the deeper reasons for clairvoyance. This is one of the deeper reasons for intuition. This is like, seeing through the eyes of the soul. You don't see it from your normal everyday like struggles, but you tap into it whether you're aware of it or not. A lot of times people who are really good at tapping into it, they couldn't tell you the mechanisms, right? But the mechanisms are your ability to like draw this energy up and then kind of transmute it, utilize it, and have it do something to the body, the emotions, but more importantly, the brain. And that last little piece where we were doing things with the base of the skull and the back heart and the crown, you're increasing your ability to connect the higher soul and the incarnated soul by doing a version of that process. And we're going to talk about this like more in greater depth when we do the vagus nerve class in August. The ability for the heart and crown to mix, the heart being associated with the incarnated soul, the crown being associated with the higher soul, is really tied to the spot at the base of your skull. It's tied to the vagus nerve, and these kind of channels or pathways, however open or unopen they are, directly corresponds to how well the energy of the heart and crown and mix, but also how well the emotions and mind mix, and how well we can process information from the environment and things like this um, into the mental body. And you could say, well, you could say if you could really get this down, not only would you be a force to be reckoned with when it came to like doing things, people wouldn't see you coming. You know, like your ability would outshine what people perceive of you, you could say. You know, people make judgments all the time, usually because of their perspective, but there's almost like a dynamic activity that people can't fathom because they don't have the experience with it, you could say. Anyway, I don't know, this is pretty abstract, but let's open it up. Maybe questions is a better way to handle this. We'll do questions and maybe share experiences. Let's maybe start with Robert, since he's the one that I think he wants this to be part of the Essential 2 class. I'm not sure, but
Nothing like putting me on the spot, Greg. So I'll tell you, and part of the experience, you gave the list of oils.
There you go. Could you start over? We couldn't hear.
Sure. Thank you for putting me on the spot here. I wanted to share an experience because you gave the list of oils and I was writing them down because I wanted them in my notes. And then I ran over to go get them and I'm like, where are these oils? And I said, oh, marjoram, I know where it is. So I run to that side of the house, come back, put it on my desk because Amazon dropped off a package. I wanted to bring it in real quick so no one stole it. I get back to my desk, I pick up the marjoram and start breathing. And then I look down at the bottle, doubting that I grabbed the right oil. So it's like, but the funny part of it is that from the class this weekend, I had enough awareness to say, yeah, don't worry about it. Just move on, breathe. So I obviously needed this, didn't know it, and I welcome it. It was not a pattern that it made sense, but I never recognized these patterns before.
Mm-hmm.
And how you brought them together and moved the energy through the body and focused it. I guess my body wasn't aware of it. I don't know that I was consciously doing it.
I mean, if you think about like the stuff that we just did is like you said, we brought together like 2 or 3 things and kind of merged them together. And even as like the energy is moving up, you know, we're practicing these things like all the time where like, you know, you go through and you do the whole body thing where you go, okay, be aware of your feet, be aware of your ankles, be aware of your lower leg. Like that is good, but that is like almost like preparing something to come later, right? And, you know, because if you just jump to that spot and you said, okay, draw the energy up from your feet and start moving it up, you would most likely be, your awareness would be on the body itself. And really what you're doing here is you're in the same areas, but you're shifting from being aware of the body parts or the form, and you're kind of moving the essence up. You know, you're pulling in the earth energy and you're starting to move it just slowly upwards. And you almost have to kind of train the mind to like be able to go, okay, focus on the form, focus on the form, focus on the form, focus on the form. Now don't focus on the form. Like if you just put your mind going, okay, move the essence up, your body would go, okay, I don't know what you're talking about, so I'm going to focus on the form, right? So it's almost like you keep drilling on focus on the form, focus on the form, focus on the form. Now you know what the form is. Now don't focus on it. You know, it still is doing something therapeutically, but ideally, you want to be able to draw up more earth prana. You want to be able to draw up more light from the earth, because like attracts like. The more earth light you draw up, the more that divine light comes down. Like it matches, like whatever you bring up, like it matches it and brings it down, right? And so by going through and doing this, you're harnessing a type of intelligence that is inherent in the earth. And so you get some information from there, but then there's a corresponding like downpouring of energy, and there's these mixing of the two energies. And in that, it's like your crown and your basic chakra, who are really at odds with each other. You know, one is form, one is essence. You know, one is the entry point of divine energy, the other one is your connection to the earth. And it's almost like you make them dance together. You know, it's like it's a
Yeah,
hard thing to
yeah,
say, but it's like you make them behave and get along with each other. Like if you guys behave and get along, you get a toy at the end of the week. Like, you know,
you,
it's some version of that, like how you would do with little kids.
you show them another perspective
Yeah,
that they can both go to
yeah,
and be
yeah,
friends instead of being
yeah.
at war with each other.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And you've, in most of our classes, you talk about, smell the oil with awareness on the heart, let's say.
Mhm,
To me, that feels very static, even though it isn't.
mhm.
It's a dynamic thing, but
Right, right.
this is movement of energy.
Yeah, it's you're tapping into like a process or a movement, a mixing of something. And you have to practice on the form for a while, but then at some point it becomes easy just to step away from the form and go, I'm going to embrace essence. Where your mind really can't comprehend essence, but it can comprehend not the form. Like if that makes sense. Like if you said, don't think of an apple, you're going to go, okay, don't think of an apple, don't think of an apple, don't think of an apple, don't think of that nice, juicy, delicious apple. Like, don't, you keep grinding on it. So for your mind, if you go, just focus on the essence, don't focus on the body, nobody can do that. Like,
No,
nobody can do that. Like maybe the Dalai Lama, maybe some high Lama somewhere can do it. But if you go, okay, focus on the form, focus on the form, focus, focus, focus. For one, that is generating an essence just unto itself. But at some point you go, okay, now you know what the form is. Now just step away from the form. And in doing so, you're tapping into an essence that your mind would never be able to tap into.
I really like this.
It's very intriguing, isn't it?
It is, and
Yeah.
obviously this is one application, and I know there's more. I know I'm not ready for more because I'm still swirling in this energy.
Mhm.
But I look forward to it when they come.
Yeah. Yeah, like and there's different ways of doing it. Like here we're doing it with oils. I like using plants because I think it is a really quick way to physicalize it and integrate it and have your brain and your nervous system and your endocrine system shift very quickly. You can do it without oils, like with meditation and mantra and awareness, and I do teach that in the Astara setting somewhat. because I think it's also good to put it forth in ways that are not, based on using plants like this. But each one has its little nuances unto itself. But I love me some plants. Like I love me some
Yes.
oils. It's just it's so easy, and I can almost be kind of lazy about it to do it, and it still works really, really super well. But it's like, even this is also what I would say about it is our mind kind of doesn't get it. So like, in a way, you're teaching the mind in a way that it's doing it by having an experience rather than trying to get it to intellectually get something. And so even the idea, like when I was first taught this, I had no idea what the person was, what was being taught to me. And I was like, I kind of get it, but I don't. But over a period of time, the light that you start bringing in is the thing that teaches you. Like it's not the person. Like the person just kind of puts something in motion. The light is really what does the work. And you just got to be able to process the light. And so here you're manually making yourself step by step process the light. You're manually dragging it in, and then you're manually saying, okay, now process this. And then you can just step back, and no matter what happens, there's a motion that starts to happen.
In a way, well, you mentioned something this weekend, and I don't remember if it was class or a Star Sunday session, but you talked about how the light has messages within it.
Yeah.
And I heard that, and it's been in my mind since class or wherever, and I'm like, how do I become more aware of those messages? How do I let those messages be received and processed so that I can act upon the ones that I need to act upon?
Right. So like another term that you could call for like the processing of that light is intuition. Like intuition, like true intuition, like is you processing information that's coming in from light. It's coming in from something beyond the senses, and then the senses process like that information. Like we have all this sensory information always coming in, and your mind kind of goes, okay, I'm going to process this and I'm going to form an opinion. But it's processing things that it knows. It's processing things that it's observed. It's had some sort of stimuli associated with that. The thing with intuition, why it's hard sometimes, is the light that's coming in is significantly more subtle than physical matter or the stimuli that comes from the senses, which is processing matter, right? And so as it comes in, it's almost like the brain isn't tuned to like handle something that soft. But then as you start to tune the brain, all of a sudden it starts to experience the light coming in just like it would the senses. And then the senses, all the stimuli from the senses also has information, just like the light has information. That's why the plants, like you're smelling something, but you're not just smelling something, you're smelling a plant that has a specific property to it, right? If you touch something rough versus something who's really soft, you feel some cashmere like sweater or something, and that tells your brain something different than if you touched like a prickly piece of really coarse sandpaper. You're still touching something, but different information is coming in, right? And then you go to taste, like, you taste something that maybe is a couple of days old in the refrigerator, maybe the milk that's gone bad, maybe a day or two, doesn't taste that good. And then you taste something that maybe, whatever it is, it tells you something different. Like you're still using taste, but different information is coming in and you're adjusting your behavior. The same thing happens with light and the information in the light. It's just it's more subtle than that cashmere sweater or that coarse piece of sandpaper or that 2-day-old milk versus the yogurt that's mixed with a little maple syrup and is delicious, you know? Like each thing tells you something different. Apparently I've got maple syrup yogurt on my brain.
So I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but the way I just understood what you said was that in essence, intuition is another sense.
Yeah.
And
It's
much like
another
some of our
sense.
senses, we have to develop them.
It's another sense, and it's not like you're trying to develop something new. You're just trying to develop your ability to process something more subtle. It's not like it's a different process. It's actually the same process. It's just more subtle. It's it's more refined than that cashmere sweater. It's more refined than, you know,
It's
something
both.
that tastes
It's
good or a pleasing sound.
it's softer than the cashmere, and it's also, in some sense, rougher than the sandpaper, but in a subtle form.
kind of, yeah. Like
There's more to it.
yeah, it gives you more information. Yeah, I would agree with that. Yes. Like there's a lot more information in the light than there is in touching that sweater.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like the sweater gives you a little bit of information. The light, if you sit and really are able to process it, it gives you so much information. You know, I think what I've seen over the weekend is, you know, we're teaching, we have a series that we're doing for clairvoyance and Astara. And you know, it's based on these modules and everything. And so different parts of the world, we're releasing them at different phases just because of who we're dealing them with and all that. That's complicated, but anyway, so I was talking with this group in India, and they kept saying, well, why did you choose this? And why did you choose that? And why did you choose, you know, to do it like this way? And I was like, I didn't choose anything. The light is what gave the instruction. Like the light came in, the instruction is in the light. It's not that I thought, oh, because so much of our logical mind wants to do something, wants to make something happen, wants to go, I'm going to go and bring the light down. I'm going to go do this, when really you just get it to start coming down and you go, tell me what to do. Tell me what I got to do. Tell me what I got to make happen, and I'll make it happen. And it just keeps like increasing. And so even the idea would be manifest in a person, like you could say their conscience is a byproduct of how they process light. Like it gives you a little bit of instruction, but it's a whisper. Like it's really easy to go shh and quiet it down. But if you quiet down and listen to your conscience, it is literally a reflection of how much or how well you've processed light.
Okay, I'll have to
That's it.
sit with that a bit.
Yeah. I mean, I had no intention. I mean, we started off talking about bug sprays, and here we are 30 minutes later going, the light. You know?
Yes. Well, thank you very much for those teachings.
It's a curious thing, and you know, it's not something you have to get right now. I mean, we're constantly always moving towards this, but you know, it's kind of nice sometimes to step away from what we're doing and go, this is like a little bit of where we're headed and what we're kind of doing. And you know, it's like I mean, you said it, like when we were going through and doing the process, it's like 2 or 3 things got like kind of mixed together, right? Like, so a lot of these things that we're practicing, that's what's starting to happen, is now these pieces are being mixed together to do like another phase. another step. And it's kind of exciting to me. Honestly, I didn't ever think I was going to be able to teach some of this, because without the pandemic, I was only teaching somewhere like 2, 3, maybe 4 times a year, and that was it. And so now I get to teach all the time, and it's been a bit of a game changer. I mean, we're able to go much deeper with a bigger group of people, where before I always thought it'd be maybe like a small handful of people and that was it.
I can tell you, I certainly would not have traveled around the country to take classes every weekend.
No, nobody would.
And, to be able to sit at home and relax and take classes and live my life at the same time is pretty darn amazing.
Yeah. Who doesn't love taking a class in their pajamas?
Thank you, Greg.
You're so welcome. Anybody else want to share, ask questions?
Yeah, go ahead, Anne, and then Carol.
Hey, Ann.
For me, this is like a dance. I
Yeah,
dance
it's
to the
very much
room.
like a dance.
I
It's very
dance
much like a dance.
with the plants. I dance picking blackberries. I can dance and my body doesn't know what it's going to do next. It just happens.
Right.
It flows.
Oh, very nice.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Thanks for sharing.